Yo, welcome everybody and welcome to a second team card competition review. And well, second time. Let's go over what this is. It's basically a challenge where 5 teams are making cards in teams, and well, there's a group of judges, including me, who will give some ratings and they will win or not. So it's just for some fun. So what's this all about? This week's challenge is about create a unit with a trigger that includes the words bordering your base. Well, that's obvious and clean. The previous time when I was talking about what are the points I need to judge on was a bit fake, so I tried to clear it up a little bit in the introduction of this video. So the concept is the concept of the ability from the card. Is it able to be in the game? Like, if another unit besides a toad can poison a unit, it might be a little bit weird, right? So we always expect to be a toad, a Shadowfen card, to do some poison damage. So things like that. Does it fit with the faction unit type? Bit similar, right? Balance, the healthiness of this card being in the game. Is it OP? Is it very weak? Things like that. Design, the flavor of the card. So does the ability is sweet, amazing, and do we like it? The name also, and the art. But the art I will do optional. I also showed now the people who are within the team. So Star is basically Truxus, Artus Rue, and Stratadox. So we give some more shoutouts to the players who are actually participating in it. So the card they created is SubZero Shattering. Deal 3 damage to a frozen unit. If that kills, deal X damage to all surrounding enemies. So this is a lot of icicle burst, right? But the funny thing is it deals basically 4 damage to a frozen unit, and if that kills, it does some AoE. So I really enjoy that kind of thing. Think it's nice, and it synergizes well with Moment's Peace and Frozen Hexers. So yeah, I think 3 mana, SubZero Shattering. Well, the name is super awesome, right? And look at that, those red tips on the eyes. Maybe a bit too dark. Probably not something designers, artists from Stormbound will do, but maybe they will. With now a shipyard on the row. And just looks amazing. And SubZero Shattering. Everything is included. I don't think it's super original. Like, it's basically an icicle burst again with some AoE. So, well, the icicle burst isn't that original. And it deals 3 damage to all surrounding enemies. I gave the concept a 4 out of 5. Since it's not that unique. But it's a good card nonetheless. I gave the balance a 2 out of 5. Since I think this will be a bit broken. Like, icicle burst is just insane. And having another card for early game Winter Pact, that will just be, like, obviously it will be very good for the game if Freeze could do some more early game. But I think if you're gonna change this, things needs to be rebalanced. So it's a bit difficult. So I would say for now the balance would be a bit too strong, I assume. And the design, well, look at how everything just fits together, and the art as well. This can be put into Stormbound right now. So let's do it. Shipyard, what are you waiting for? Alright, so the next one is Team Get It On video submission by Vision of Love, Deadloader, and Uni. And they created Murky Bartender. On play, confuse all poisoned units. It's a 3 mana feline, no movement, 2 strength, 6 strength on maxed out level. So I think that's a pretty normal stat line. Well, basically it's a feline that has some synergy with poison. And it's also a Shadowfen card. Like, double statuses might be a bit confusing, pun intended. And, well, obviously it can already be done because units can be frozen, poisoned, and confused at the same time. So it is possible. It might be interesting to see multiple statuses on top of each other, but I'm just not flabbergasted about it. It's interesting. So what did I do for the concept? I gave it 4 out of 5. find it interesting to experiment a bit with multiple statuses. The balance, I think it's fine. Like 3 out of 5. It's just not overly powerful. It's also, it might be just a bit more too weak, I guess. So, but it doesn't break the game. So that's why it's a 3 out of 5. Like, I prefer to have introduce a card that is basically not meta breaking, but just something that people can play around with. And it's also easy to buff cards while they are in the game. And the design, I gave it 2 out of 5. Well, the flavor of the card is, yeah, not that interesting. Next one will be the team, the Very Lucky Charmers by More Fun, AGMM and Tudam. Right, they even have some flavor text. These fragile torrents head bravely into battle while frozen enemies are immobile. The ice spikes pop torrents bubbles and let lightning vapor escape, leaving a cloud of hope for their vengeful comrades. So it's a 3 mana Frostling from Winter Pact, and its ability is, if this dies to a frozen unit, give 2 strength to all surrounding friendly units. So that's like a combination of Pen Heralds meeting Snow Masons. Doesn't feel very Frostling-like, but Frostlings do give health with Moment's Peace. Like Moment's Peace, that needs to be a Frostling spell, right? But and Blessed with Brawn as well, but they don't really do AoE healing, so that is something I'm not really digging. Like, let that be something for Shadowfen or Swarm. I think that might be just a little bit better. Well, the art is a bit funky, but they made art, so that's pretty sweet that they do that. So I give the concept a 3 out of 5. And the balance 2 out of 5. I don't think it's gonna be that strong. Like, looking at the stats, 3 mana for 3. Obviously it can buff a lot, but it also needs to die to a frozen unit. So there's a lot of conditions going on there. I think that might be very difficult. And Winter Pact in general doesn't have a lot of units on the board. So you don't often buff plenty of units like you normally do with Swarm or Shadowfen. And the design I gave 5 out of 5. Like, it does something new, dying to a frozen unit. I think that's pretty cool. So I might want to see something more with that, but just don't, like, if they just didn't give strength to all surrounding friendly units, but just gave it a huge buff to a unit or something, that will be a bit more interesting for me. Like, it also looks like Blessed with Brawn ability, and the art I give 3 out of 5. Like, I do like it. Obviously it isn't Storm-like art style, but still. Next one, Team Permafrost, Frozen Earth, Hanu and Mathematica. They created Gluttons of Fear. Before attacking a confused unit, force it to move backwards twice, then gain 1 speed. Well, that's a whole mouthful. So I do find this very interesting, right? Because you're gonna attack a confused unit and it moves backwards twice. So basically it can do a lot of team damage, I suppose. So they might attack own friendly units, might even attack their base. This can be a 6 strong unit that just walks in for 10 strength in your opponent's base, and then you still have a body of this unit on the board as well. I'm not just completely sure about then gain 1 speed. So I find that a bit not needed. Then, like, this ability alone is already pretty interesting, right? Might be super hard to trigger because enabling confuse on enemy units isn't that easy. But then, yeah, keep it simple, I guess. So what did I do? I gave this a 4 out of 5 for the concept. And the balance 3 out of 5. Yeah, I'm not sure. The same goes. It's like a super high roll card. And I think it will be a bit too slow. But I like the idea adding more felines and having some different kind of enablers, or not enablers, but having different kind of abilities on Confuse. Now with Melodious Sisters and Hair-Raising Cats, I do find the abilities a bit boring. So this ability is way more interesting and is also more in line with Confuse. But then gain 1 speed is just a bit confusing. Design, Gluttons of Fear. I just disgusted by the name, to be honest. It doesn't sound feline-like. And it's not fear, it's confuse. Obviously it is. Like you're running away or something, so that makes sense. But I'm not maybe sure, I don't understand the Gluttons. So I gave it a bit of a lower on the design part. So last card we got is by Helig John Falters. And it's Helios, Makura and Faltons. They made Insidious Passengers. Before attacking a unit with a status effect, give the effect to all enemies with the same unit type. So basically it spread all the statuses to different kind of units. So this can be frozen, poison, confuse. Well, that's basically it, I guess. So I do like it's a neutral, makes sense. So all the factions can use it to spread down their own disease. I would love to have more abilities, maybe also have like a status effect on units which is a positive. Like basically just a blast or something which will heal all units, and then you can put this in as a swarm deck and then blast all your own units. But it doesn't really work because before attacking a unit with status effect, give all the effect to all units with the same unit type. That won't work with this card, but that's something that triggers me when I read this card. What I do find a bit difficult is with the same unit type. I think it might just make it overcomplicated again. Like the stats isn't that good. It's basically just 5 mana, 4 strength on level 3. So that's super weak. And you also need something before this can pass its effect. So I do think it would be better to don't give it with the same unit type. Yeah, oh, it's also a runner. So I'm not completely sure. Something that it should be. Obviously the Grim Couriers make sense that it has a running ability since it looks really fast. But maybe cards like these can just be focused on doing a sweet effect. So I gave this card for the concept a 2 out of 5. I do like spreading the effect, but I don't think it's gonna be very usable in Stormbound as it is, because I already needed to think about different kind of status effects to make it a bit more interesting, and with the same unit type also not that interesting. And I'm not sure why it is 2 movement. It's like you go in all in with the ability, and something like this you just want to play for its ability, or just a body or something. Balance, I give it a 2 out of 5. I don't think this card will be very strong. I'm not completely sure about the stats line. 5 mana, 6. It's probably not that much weaker than those pirate runners we have in that sense. And design I give 2 out of 5. Also, I don't understand the Insidious Passengers name combined with this effect. And well, that's it. So this is my card reveal for... So this is gonna be the card reveal for this week. Thank you for watching, and I hope I see you next time. Cheers.